So back in December 2023, after watching a podcast featuring Wes, I went straight to his website and filled out a form for coaching. And I expected this instant reply because, according to his stories, he personally messages everyone and closes everyone himself. A couple days passed and nothing. So I followed up in his DMs. And turns out because I was in Croatia, the messaging system didn't work and my inquiry never went actually through. So at first I was skeptical, but I wired him $6K for 1 month of coaching starting in January 2024. And then I waited for this onboarding process to happen. And to be honest, I felt a bit disjointed and my skepticism kept growing. But eventually we scheduled a call a couple weeks into about 2024. And I have to admit, the call was phenomenal. Wes was fully locked in. He was present from start to finish. He looped back things I said in the first couple minutes, showing me he was 100% engaged and that he cared. And the call was so valuable alone, I immediately wired him additional $36K for the rest of the year. And with his guidance, 2024 became the best year of my life. I had my first $1 million day in my business, got down to 6.8% body fat, started my personal brand and coaching business, which did $32K in its first month, and most importantly, met my dream wife. So in this video, I wanted to distill the 17 biggest lessons I learned from Wes, and more importantly, how you can implement them into your life. Lesson number 1, frequency outweighs effort. You don't achieve success by grinding endlessly. You attract it by living in a high frequency state. So back in 2023, I remember times where I was disciplined. I stuck to my daily non-negotiables, had high frequency habits, and my business just kept growing. But then I started partying, eating junk food, skipping workouts, and my numbers just kept going down. And even though I wasn't really doing anything different in the business. And on the call, I remember Wes and I both at the same time mentioned Rob Dyrdek's experience, where he sold a company for over $300 million. And it happened when he was fully aligned with his nutrition and training and all dialed in. He wasn't partying, he was just full in flow. That's when Wes said frequency outweighs effort. And that's when he introduced me to Dr. David Hawkins' frequency chart. And that's when it all clicked for me, because some of you are engaging in low frequency habits and you have vices holding you back from actually creating the person that can be a magnet for everything you desire. Lesson number 2, acquire what you admire. Everything you admire in others is a reflection of what your soul desires. Admiration is like this internal compass pointing you towards your full potential. And the truth is, in my life, I admired a lot of things I never truly attained. I never got as shredded as I wanted. I never had the business success that I admired in others, like doing $1 million in a day. And I never had the confidence to speak on camera and start a personal brand. So I created what I call this admiration tree. I listed all the things I admire in other people across health, wealth, and relationships. And then I made a plan to acquire them. And as a result, my belief and confidence just skyrocketed, allowing me to operate a high frequency that ultimately allowed me to create the life that I've always dreamt of. Lesson number 3, the work instills the worth. Confidence isn't something that you're born with. It's something you earn through work. The more you put in, the more you believe in yourself. When I gave only 80% effort, I felt 80% confident. The 20% gap creates this hesitation. But when I gave the 100% work ethic into everything I did, whether it's training, business, or relationships, my self-doubt vanished and my confidence levels skyrocketed. Lesson number 4, conscious congruent living. Your conscience is the authentic voice of God. He knows your desires and he's here to keep you aligned with them. It's like your personal coach in order to create the individual that you admire and create the individual that you want. When your thoughts and your actions and your belief are aligned, life just flows effortlessly. And when they're misaligned, you feel chaotic, confused, and full of regret. Living congruently means listening to your inner voice, acting in alignment with your purpose and your conscience. Like, for example, my conscience was always telling me I need to be more dedicated to my work, more dedicated to my fitness. I need to sacrifice more. But I always let the environment tell me what I should be doing. I listen to the outer voice instead of listening to my inner voice. Lesson number 5, your purpose is to build your temple in yourself and give it back to the world. Your ultimate purpose isn't just to succeed, it's to become the best version of yourself and give that person back to the world. And by creating your best self, you inspire others and you share your journey along the way and you contribute to the collective whole. Like when I started building the best version of myself, opportunities in terms of relationships and clarity all started to align. My growth wasn't just for me, it was a gift to others also. I began to coach others, and I think as humans, we have to self-actualize and then self-transcend by helping others. This is how we ultimately live a life that's full of purpose and meaning. Lesson number 6, regret is your guideline. Regret isn't a punishment, it's a notification from a higher power guiding you back to your alignment. Regret shows up when you're not living in alignment with your purpose. It's your conscience speaking to you. Like, there was a time where I used to party with my friends and have no regrets, no anxiety, but then it came to a point where hangovers were just unbearable, almost brought me to tears. And I had to actually re-engineer myself because I knew that I had to go. Anything in your life that you are full of regret, it has to go, plain and simple. Lesson number 7, run towards fear. Fear isn't something that you have to avoid. It's a sign of growth. Everything you want is on the other side of what you fear. So when you're scared, that's when you need to act. Fear points to areas where you're ready to grow. And the more you fear something or resist something, that's more of an indication that's exactly what you should be doing. For me, it was starting my personal brand. I made a post 7 years ago that said I was going to start it. I did nothing about that. And the thought of getting on camera just crippled me. Having started it now, it's the single most thing that I'm proud of today and where I've gained the most value in my life. over the last 10 years. Lesson number 8, purpose over pleasure. The things that feel good in the moment often sabotage you long term. The true fulfillment comes from choosing purpose over the instant gratification. Netflix, junk food, laziness are easy, but they're not rewarding. Discipline, hard work, and contribution are hard, but they bring true happiness and fulfillment. When I started choosing going to bed early and not going out, reading a book instead of watching Netflix, and pretty much anything that was pleasure driven orientated, the more alignment I actually felt and more purpose I felt, and everything changed. My life just got so much better quicker, and it was actually insane. Lesson number 9, boredom equals desire equals devices. Boredom creates this space for desires, which then leads you to self-sabotaging behaviors, because boredom is dangerous. It's when your mind seeks distractions and vices, so staying engaged in meaningful pursuits prevents this spiral. When I used to allow space for boredom, that's when I started thinking about eating junk food, drinking, partying, Netflix, toxic girls will come to play. But when I stacked my calendar with things I need to do, even a second workout, anything that didn't allow me to be bored, that's when my desires diminished. Lesson number 10, detach from the outcome. When you're consistently tuned into the outcome, then you're operating from a position of lack. You're comparing yourself to where you are now to your ideal self, and this creates this gap where it's a low frequency, and then you detract everything you want into your life. I used to always look at the numbers of my business and against my forecast where I was now, worrying about if I'm gonna hit my target or not, constantly looking at my body fat percentage, see if I'm going down, and it created this negative emotions that was trying to bridge the gap. Instead, focus on the daily non-negotiables, put your self-worth just on showing up every single day. And then when I did that, I was able to operate at a high frequency, be present, and allow me to attract everything I wanted into my life back in 2024. Lesson number 11, strength through restraint. Restraint is where the power lies, like your ability to say no to delayed gratification and stay disciplined builds true strength. And how much you want to be is determined by how much you're willing to sacrifice and restrain yourself. I learned this by going through this process consistently. Example with diet. You might start off by not eating junk food and sticking to whole foods, but then that might become too easy. Then you have to measure your food intake. You have to continually stack the game so that you're doing something difficult, because that's where the strength is built, from restraining from doing the things that you want in that moment for your future self. Lesson number 12, the message creates demand. The purpose of your challenge is to shape you into the person that's capable of delivering a unique message to the world. Your struggles are preparing you to inspire others and lead the way. The message you'll be able to share one day, it's all based on creating the man or woman you need to become, because we all share the same consciousness, and any struggle that I have is my journey as an opportunity to overcome it and then share it with others down the line. That's what it's all about, and share within the world will help the next person overcome it. This is like your unique hero's journey, your path, your message. So be thankful for whatever is happening, because this is your chance to create your unique message for the world that will actually create you as an individual. Lesson number 13, focus on contribution. Shifting your focus from yourself to others eliminates self-doubt, depression, and low frequency states. All pain happens when we actually focus inwards. When we focus outwards in terms of serving others, we find purpose and peace. When I stopped thinking about me and put my focus on others, everything became easier. My early wake-ups, my training sessions, all documented on social media was me doing it for others, not just myself. It held me accountable to help others to get their habits in check, which ultimately gave me so much extra energy and strength. Lesson number 14, your habits are your resume to the world. What you do every day, your habits, your routines, your disciplines are the reflection of who you are. You are not what you say you'll do, you are what you do repeatedly. Your habits are proof of your identity. And when people start to see my habits, they know exactly the type of person I am. I can't tell you how many people trust me more, like me more, as a byproduct of knowing my habits. This did so much for me in terms of my other parts of my life. Just think about it, when you meet someone that's jacked and disciplined, doesn't drink, reads every day, looks fresh, would you be more likely to trust them, do business with them? Lesson number 15, you're the problem and you're the solution. Blame and excuses are just low frequency states, and taking 100% responsibility for them in your life is the only way to grow. Nobody is coming to save you. You're both the problem and you're the solution. And the moment I understood this, that I am the creator of my own reality and everything I didn't have in my life was my fault, it all got easier. I used to ask myself, why haven't I met my dream wife yet? It's not fair, and all these other stories. But once I took accountability and said it's my fault, I haven't created the individual that has the ability to attract her, everything changed. Lesson number 15, we don't have an education problem, we have an application problem. You don't need any more information, you just need to apply what you already know, because success isn't about learning endless strategies, it's about executing on what you've already learned. Knowledge without action is just wasted potential. I was always stuck in this place where I was overeducating myself consistently, listening to podcasts, reading books, buying courses, and just kept me stuck in this paradigm where I just kept learning. But I need to act on what I already knew to have real wisdom, because you're going to learn more by posting 100 pieces of content a day than taking a course on how to create content. You'll learn more about mindset by keeping the promises you make to yourself than reading any other mindset strategies that are possible. Lesson number 17, focus on the who and not the how. Instead of obsessing on how to achieve something, focus on the who. Focus on the individual that is capable of achieving the thing that you're after. I made this mistake constantly in my life where I was constantly looking at strategies and how to grow my business, but I never looked at the person that was capable of actually growing that business. And when I started focusing on myself and my self-mastery, then everything changed. So self-mastery should always be your true aim, because that's how you grow your business and that's how you succeed in life, by mastering yourself first. These 17 lessons changed my life, but knowing them isn't enough. You have to actually apply them. So drop a comment below, which lesson resonated with you the most? What are you committing to change? And if you want to know how I brainwashed myself to make millions of dollars, click the link in the description below.